name is Aaron Smith and I am an account executive for Olson. When I started, I jumped into the communications school. I wasn't really sure that I wanted to be in advertising. I just kind of knew that, communications and media was where I wanted to be, and I just drilled down further and further in my classes at the U and figured out that I wanted to be in advertising. So here I am. It's kind of been a long road. I graduated in 2008, so it took me a while to get the job that I really wanted after graduating from the U, but here I am now, and I'm really liking what I do. So actually, when I graduated, it was kind of when the economy went off the cliff. So on my path, I did a couple kind of smaller project-based jobs. So I worked for a really small strategy firm, two really smart women who used to work for Fallon, and they started their own firm, and I did a lot of just project by project work for them, and I learned a lot. Actually, they were very valuable, super bright. They were really helpful in getting me further in my career. So I worked for them for about 3 years, and then I also worked for the Star Tribune for Vitamin Magazine, kind of going and attending events kind of as a representative for the magazine. They ran a lot of parties and events and concerts, and did a little blog posting on their social networking website here and there, and so got two kind of different avenues of experience for a few years. And then meanwhile, I was applying at agencies because I really wanted to get a full-time job at an ad agency somewhere. 2 years later, I ended up landing at Olson, and so I think part of it was luck and part of it was just kind of being tenacious, and I kept applying and looking around and eventually landed here. So it's been kind of a long road, but it's been a good one. I've learned a lot. So. Technology. Everything about my job right now is based on technology. I actually work on a lot of digital projects for clients. So we're running a website for a client right now. We're actually in the middle of developing an online game, so an interactive game for one of the websites that we run. So everything from, IT mishaps during the day where our email servers are down. I mean, everything's electronic. There's nothing in paper anymore. All of our files and all of our work is stored on a server. So technology is integral to what I do. I mean, it's basically revolves around technology. I think we wouldn't really be able to do what we do today without it. So. Today, I have a million things that are kind of racing through my brain right now. I'm trying not to think about it. But anything from status meetings to creative check-ins and checking in on technology resources like we just talked about before. So today, I have a lot of meetings ahead of me today. I have a couple check-ins. I have to look into some technology flubs that are going on today. Just some fires to put out. It's always kind of a fire drill, a lot of managing issues that come up that aren't expected. So yeah, my Outlook calendar looks a little crazy today, we'll just say that. So. Well, I've been here for almost 2 years, and in the last few months I've acquired a few more responsibilities, so I've definitely jumped more on the digital side of advertising rather than traditional. Before I was doing a lot of print, a little bit of broadcast, and some strategy work, and now I've had the opportunity in the last few months to really dive into doing digital work. So I'm helping run a website, doing an online game. We do a lot of other digital projects that I wasn't really well versed in before. I'm still learning. When I started, I was kind of flying blind through all this, and I'm slowly picking up the language. It's definitely a different language when you get into these digital projects with media and websites and analytics and all the different technologies that are involved. So I've definitely had a shift lately to the digital side, which is great. Professors are probably going to kill me for saying this, but I think even going back farther to when I graduated, when I was in school, I wish I would have known that in addition to your schoolwork, you really have to buckle down and get some outside experience, because at the end of the day, you need that college degree, but what employers are really looking for is internships on your resume and different types of experience. A lot of employers, I mean, it's great that everybody needs to have a college degree, obviously, but employers are really looking for some good experience, and they just want to know that you're qualified for the job. and a lot of times, straight A's in your classes isn't really enough to get you a job. So I really wish I would have known that a little more when I graduated, that you really need to start getting moving maybe your junior year or senior year to get a lot of internships, start making some connections, and really get yourself out there. So. Creative copywriting, if you're in advertising, I think that's definitely a class you should take. It's not a requirement, I don't think, unless things have changed, but great class where you actually divide up into different roles within an agency. You have planners and copywriters and art directors, and you actually go through and you get a client, you get an assignment, and you treat it just like a real job at an agency, and it's really, I've found that really valuable. So. Somebody just graduating or about to graduate and looking to get into the field, I mean, it's definitely about making connections. I think, you need to have some good experience. You need to have people that'll go to bat for you that you've worked for, that will recommend you to new employers. You need to have a reputation, and you need to know that employers will trust your references. They'll trust where you're coming from, because from their end of things, it's easier to know that this person came from a colleague of theirs, or a former coworker who really recommends this person, versus kind of sifting through resumes for people that they don't really know much about. So I think definitely taking advantage of all that the U has to offer, and being in this city, and gathering up some internships, working for different people around the area. Everybody knows each other. Everybody's connected in one way, shape, or form, and so it'll do nothing but help you to form those connections, work for people, really impress them so that they'll go to bat for you, and in the end that'll help you get a job. Definitely looking for people who are motivated, driven, but also they're not afraid to get their hands dirty and make mistakes. Definitely you want people at an agency who kind of embrace chaos, because day to day you can't really predict what's going to happen. You have project plans and timelines, but very rarely do those fly off without any kind of problems or hitches. So I think anyone who can just embrace chaos and be okay with not knowing all the details at any given time, and be okay with jumping into something that they might not necessarily know everything about, and just know that you're going to forge ahead and you have people to help you, and if you have questions, raise your hand, obviously, but just kind of being fearless and just tackling things even though you might not be completely ready. I think that's definitely a major trait that will help you get a job, and that most employers look for. Definitely, I work in account services, so the career path on client-facing roles such as mine at an agency is typically you'd start out as an intern or maybe an assistant account executive, and then from there you'd move on to an account executive and an account supervisor, and ultimately maybe to an account director position someday. And every agency has a different name and different title for these positions, but it's basically, as you move on, you slowly gain more responsibility in managing others. So when you become an account director, you're the final say on that particular account you work on, and you also, you're responsible for managing the team that works on your account. You're partly responsible for staffing that account and making sure everything's going smoothly. And then, even higher than that, you become a group account director, so you oversee a number of different accounts. And so that's kind of the path on the account services side, which differs from creative and media and other departments within agencies. But probably the most challenging part about my job is pleasing both sides, because as an account person, you're the voice for the creative team at the agency, and you're also the voice for the client. And oftentimes those two groups don't see eye to eye. So it's definitely a balancing act in trying to make the creative team happy and trying to make the clients happy. And sometimes that's not always the easiest thing to do. So you're definitely playing mediator and kind of a middleman role, so to say. What I love most about my job is I think the agency environment it's different than the traditional corporate environment. It's very, it's a little more, I find it very spontaneous and very energetic. You're around a lot of other creative and energetic people, and I think it's different day to day. You're never working on the same thing. Everything's fast-paced, everything's exciting. You get to do a lot of interesting work, and you get to see a project from the beginning, from the very beginning stages of planning and strategy, and then you get to see it kind of come to life at the end in, whether it's a website or a print ad or a video, whatever that may be. You get to kind of follow the whole process along to an end product and kind of be proud of what you just did. And then the process just keeps cycling through.